Greetings, folks. Coin here, or Swirling Vortex, or Steven, and welcome back to another episode of Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries. It's been 3 weeks. I do apologize. It's been rough. Those on YouTube probably don't know my story compared to those on Twitch yet. I'll remedy this, but first I want to clarify where we were, so that we know where we're going. So last time we sided with Anasteria and began helping her collect some artifacts, some trophies. And we're now collecting a book for her. At the same time, this has also pissed off the Black Legion. So we might even have to do some bounty quests. I'm hoping not to have to do that on camera, but my life has been busy, and if we have to do that on camera to keep from losing reputation, then so be it. Without further ado, let's just get started. How's everyone doing? I am doing okay. I'm coming up on the end of my term. Yeah, I'm coming up on the end of my college term. I'm doing well in one place and kind of really sincerely sucking in another. So I have to figure out how to remedy that for my life, or I'm not going to go very far. And then this past month has been a nightmare from start to finish. I basically did a group project by myself, and it really sucked. Not because I didn't have people there to help me, but because I had people who weren't pulling their weight. So I was doing 3 people's worth of work in like one sitting. Like I was doing three people's worth of work over the course of a month.
I can't do that yet.
Yeah, I got sapped for a lot of HP. I'm not surprised. Should have parked a rift there. I did not. Yeah, it's been quite a bit of time since I've last played. I do duly apologize. I promise you, YouTube guys, that you're not secondary to me. Although I do have to figure out where you fit in this grand scheme of things. Because on one hand, and this is kind of a bit of an aside, also, I thought I was going in the wrong place. It's about to. On one hand, I do both Twitch and YouTube. On the other hand, I do twice as much Twitch as I do YouTube. And I'm kind of a streamer. One thing I do want to rectify over the course of my summer break, whether I want it or not, is I'm going to try and pick up some editing skills so that I can actually sit down and, you know, do that long form I promised everybody. And yeah, it's for my Twitch peeps, but that could be something separate. So for Twitch folks, we beat Blasphemous. We played it. All 3. And I said I would do like an edited guide of where to go, what to do, and in what order you should be doing things. As well as DLC content, all of it. Because I have access to, well, actually, for the most part, not entirely, it is free LC, or free DLC, FDLC. Trying to figure out a good shortcut. Regardless, we have all the DLCs for Blasphemous, so one of the things that you guys will get on the main channel that isn't just, you know, me live streaming all the time is going to be like a guide. I don't know. I don't have much in editing skills, though. So before I could begin that journey of giving you guys a guide, I must first learn how to edit stuff, and edit it properly, not just this is my best effort. No, I'm wanting to pull a Chugga Conroy of sorts in terms of edited content. So that means I do all of my research ahead of time. And I do my best to just kind of go off that research. Kind of like an earlier Chugga Conroy, if you will. And I know, I keep mentioning Chugga Conroy over and over, but I really want people to be, to know that it's one of my favorite YouTube channels. I haven't actually got that much time, but I wanted to, like, watch his Black 2, White 2 playthrough. I know that's what he's doing this time around. I do keep good tabs on that channel. Just haven't had the time. I've been super busy. Super busy and super burnt out. I know, I'm trying to do like 6 different things at once, and I am failing on all of them. But I will get it fixed, and you guys won't have to put up with my bumbling failings for that long. Once I do the learning, once I learn how to edit properly, I might even be able to transition back into like the long form LPs or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to work that out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Right, I wanted to talk about the story. So, about April. It's May now. April, in my physics, introductory physics course, I get a lab. In the lab, we have 2 presentations to do. First one went fine. I still ended up doing most of the work, but I understood it way better. Because we were dealing with buoyancy. That's a pretty easy topic. This time, we were dealing with a twist on the race to the bottom experiment. And I had to be responsible for theory again. This theory was a lot harder to understand because there were several assumptions that we kind of had to make when doing the project. If the assumptions aren't there, then it doesn't work. You have to do something else. Man, that lack of bleed resist is really gonna kill us, isn't it? It's about 4 pages worth of slides, if I'm being perfectly honest. Maybe maybe on like a break or something, I'll come back and like show the I'll actually show my PowerPoint with the slides on it so that we can kind of understand what I'm talking about. But the long story short pretty much is I was responsible for 70% of the work, and one partner only realized that after I told them, hey, this is what happened. I had to go have a good cry about it. I was that upset. And it happened the day of presentations. Yeah, the stress broke me. Even with instructor help, I was still off by like a factor of 100. Well, I had 100% error. I shouldn't say a factor of 100. 100% error on one of those values, and like 10% or 0.1% on some others. I should just show what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, so this is an object's moment of inertia. I know. Well, a great start to a stream. Also, how's everyone doing? So moments of inertia, if you're not using calculus, have a form. They have a form. That's just been mathed out by calculus. Absolutely. It has been mathed out by calculus. How do we figure this out for an object we don't know without turning to calculus? There are actually two ways you could do it. One, If it's something like a beam, if it's a beam, what you could do is take the composite, right? We could figure out what the moment of inertia for this part is, and this part is. Add them up, you got the net sum. Pretty straightforward. What if it's a shape you don't know? What if it's a shape that you can't take the composite of? So our project had wooden cylinders. 2 of them. I don't have the picture or else I'd show you. One is a wooden cylinder filled up with cork. The other cylinder is only partially drilled through. One is a composite shape, that being the partially annulled cylinder, partially bored through cylinder. The other, filled up with cork, doesn't have a... You can't take the composite moment of inertia unless you make several assumptions. And trying to determine that experimentally without knowing the theoretical equation is next to impossible. So, moment of inertia takes this form when you're not sure what the number is. Let me use the designation let me use the designation most people refer to. I equals CMR squared, where C is that number, whether it's 1, 1/2, 2/5, so on and so forth. It was a 2-part experiment where we had to find the constant and then find the actual moment of inertia. Like, calculate the theoretical based on C, whatever C is, and then find the actual real value through experimental determination using tracker software. Basically video analysis software that allows you to use frame data to get all your points, as long as you have a properly calibrated object. The project itself was really cool. I learned a lot. However, the sheer pain I went through to learn it was not worth it. The stress broke me during the last week, 2 hours in before the presentation, after I'd already turned in the PowerPoint and everything. The stress broke me. I cried. And for context, it's like, oh, you cried, what's the big deal? I hardly cry, folks. Like, stop freezing me in place. Death does not make me cry. Normally. I imagine there might be some exceptions eventually, but I don't cry about, the stuff most people normally cry about. Yay for being non-neurotypical, for being a neurodivergent individual. Death doesn't really bother me. Funerals still bother me, but funerals bother me because there's too much negative energy in the air, and not because someone died, if that makes sense. It's too much negativity, and I don't do well in those kinds of environments, so I just don't attend funerals. I'll have to for my dad's, but, eventually. No, my dad isn't dead, but when he kicks the bucket, I'll have to be the one to do it. That's a whole different conversation. My point is, I don't break easy. I might get sad, I might get, single episode depression or whatever, but I'm otherwise fine. I'm looking at he says, looking at the camera that is clearly positioned at his waist, turned off. 1 second. Just gonna roast this guy to shreds. But social stress breaks me. I don't understand why. It's something that makes me very weak as a person. and I know the comments are gonna recoil and say everybody has different breaking points, yada yada. Yes, but most humans don't. That's the problem. I don't break when normal humans do. I break when I break. And that's... I can't relate to people when I do this. When I break in a non-neurotypical fashion. People will think I'm alien. And I hope that doesn't color your perception of me, but if it does, then I guess it can't be helped. If people couldn't tell, well, I'm just throwing into my usual defensive mechanisms here. My point is just, I tend not to break that easy, and when I do break, that's because the stress built up to a critical breaking point. This is with my coping techniques, by the way. It's not like I just hold it in and I never release my emotions. No. I try to take them out of the box whenever I can, so I can remind myself I felt those things and they were real and not just, oh, they don't matter. No, they absolutely do matter. And it's something that, wow, nice. I'm pretty sure at least pain is not something I have to reset from. Although I still didn't park the rift. Wow, what a good episode. Yeah, the stress broke me. And that's gonna stick with me a while. As most stressful things do. And they stick with you a while. I had a whole month of that. And it culminated almost at presentation time. I was lucky I was able to cry in private. Because if I'm being honest, I feel as though few people deserve my tears. That one, they're not worth anything. But two, it's no one's damn business. Excuse my French. If I cry, it's not. They don't need to know. You guys know, but... I'm sitting on the other side of the screen, and I know that internet comments can't really hurt me. I'm jesting. I have a great community. You know, I don't expect people to hurl insults in my face and tell me what a pathetic human being I am. I do a great job of telling myself that on my own. I do a great job of beating myself up. Goodness, I'm sorry. I don't even think I got to muffle my mouth in time. Okay, we're making a rift, so we don't have to repeat that again. Yeah, this month, that last month, all of last month, right up until the 2nd of this month, was brutal. I don't think I've ever been so stressed out about a group project. I have a better appreciation for why people don't like group projects, but come on. Some of the, like, if you're a STEM major, you're most likely working in a group. Because it's more efficient, it costs less money. I think about it from just the standpoint of working at, like, some lab or something. It's easier to work in groups, or work as, like, a whole workplace. You're not working by yourself. And if you are working by yourself, you know, it's because you have skills that the whole lab, or, like, the whole department can't replicate as a group, and you work better by yourself. You know, it's something to that effect. But for the most part, you work in groups as a STEM major. Like in big, collaborative, 10+ people groups. And it's up to you to learn how to get along with that group. So, me being wary of future group work is not a good thing. And it's not a good thing because I can't be useful to groups of people if I'm leery of getting, you know, taken advantage of again. But I have a better appreciation for why people don't like group work as a result of this fun little project. The project was fun, and to my instructor's credit, he couldn't have possibly known that this group of individuals was going to be so hard for me to work with. There was no way. He even went above and beyond to help me work on my math and figure out where I went wrong on a lot of stuff. He helped me more than he helped a bunch of other groups because of that explicit fact. Like, direct help. Not, oh, here's an email telling you how to do it. No, he actually sat with me and showed me my mistakes. And told me what kind of errors I made. Which is more than I can say for, like, the other time that I had to take this physics course. Yes, I'm a repeat student. Don't judge. Physics is hard. It's a weed-out course for a reason. Because it requires you to think. And think in ways you're not used to. Where nothing is intuitive. You have to logically derive every step. And, you know, I really have to give credit to the people who work on physics stuff. Because they have to be mathematically creative. What do I mean by that? They are the exact people who love playing with mathematical definitions. Or, you know, if you have like 5 mathematical definitions, this is how you can relate them as long as at least one of them has any amount of correspondence to some of the others. Just the amount of mathematical manipulation required to understand how things work, even in just classic Newtonian / Hamiltonian physics, is I'm floored. I'm humbled. And I don't think I'm that bad at math. I can't do calc, but I can understand everything else with enough repetition. I know what completing the square means, although I'm not that good at it. I know how to expand a square, although I'm not very good at it. I'm floored. I am humbled by the amount of mathematical knowledge that is in physics. I really am. And I loved learning about it. I didn't think I would be turned on to physics that much. But what can I say? When everything just clicks, and clicks because you understand all the counterintuitive definitions, all of the, well, I shouldn't say counterintuitive. You know what happens to objects rolling down hills. The hard part is trying to logically explain that in a way that keeps the sanctity of mathematical definitions intact. Like, explaining the math makes it feel counterintuitive without actually being counterintuitive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Get off me. Yeah, my brain's a little bit slow today, which is why I'm having that cup of coffee. Hopefully this doesn't turn into Steven repeats content to the episode, but it very much might. I wouldn't say my level of care is low or anything. I've had a week, or like 4 or 5 days to digest what happened to me, but the emotion is kind of still clinging to me. I don't know how else to explain it in like a using psychologically correct terminology. The emotion's just kind of there. And I'm still having to, you know, unpack it and even deal with it properly. Crying on the spot is not a good way of dealing with emotions. That's what happens when the valves break. It's not what happens when you choose to experience that emotion again. You see what I'm saying? And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just taking this moment to, grind up a little bit of gear and get some experience, because we're still leveling. We're still leveling like crazy. Our build is really quite good at dealing with, like, massive spread groups. There's really... Our build can do a whole lot. But then again, that's because Sentinelist is probably one of the more broken, that is a restored shrine. Right. So here I am, meandering through, the steps of torment. But what I really should say is, I figured out, aka I looked up, what I had to do for this. We went through the steps of torment before, right? And I think I said something about, I'll just have the book with me next time. But, it's been a busy month. I apologize. That's really all I could say is sorry. It's not an excuse. I understand if people don't want to, watch my content because I haven't been very good about being consistent. I get it. And sometimes I double back on the things I say, either because I later learn they're wrong, or, I just haven't had the time to actually enact what I was trying to do. Sometimes it's because, Steven is lazy, and other times it is because I'm a school student, and I've said this to my Twitch students. Yes. Some people call me the professor among my friend groups, and I don't understand why. Not exactly that smart, but, among people that watch me on Twitch, I usually tell them, hey, my college education comes first. Like, I'm taking out personal debt to be there. I want to make sure my time is actually spent well, and it means something. Like, that's what I want to do. I'm wanting to be a biodefense specialist. I'm a person who will probably work with the government, although that isn't exactly my real design, but that's probably what I'll end up doing, is acting with the government in order to enable good controls for if we have future pandemics or disease outbreaks again. That's what I'm trying to do. I was about to say, please let me zap the poor thing. And just when I thought all I would have to do is loot and leave. Careful. Ha! You thought your poisons would get me? Nah, fam. I am the king of resisting poison. If you had come on with bleeds, though, I'd probably be dead right about now. What am I trying to say? Ideally, without doubling back on what I said. Right. I understand if, that's a huge turnoff for people, as not being a consistent individual. So I don't, I'm not upset with people who want consistent content. Now, granted, over summer term, I'm gonna do my damnedest, please excuse my French again, for, to make sure I have consistent content. Because I have 4 days. I'll have 4 days where I'm gonna stream to folks. 2 on Twitch, at least 1 on YouTube, maybe 2. I don't know yet. And I've got my Discord and Patreon peaks to think about. Oh yeah, speaking of which, you want to get onto the Discord? I'm not partnered with YouTube, so I can't just have packages for you YouTube folks yet. But what I can do is say, hey, go get the $1 Patreon pass on my Patreon page. And then come back and talk to me, and I'll get you a link into the Discord with the same tierage as like the Initiate. So you'll get access to most stuff. You won't get access to, voting, like voting rights or anything. But hey, I am cultivating a community, and a buck gets you into it. And our community is small. It's kind of quiet. I don't talk on there that much yet. It'll be better once there are more people on it. And really, that's all I'm looking for. If nothing else, I'd like to have some friends. But I want to keep out trolls. I want to keep out people who don't have my best interest in mind. People who are just looking to troll my other patrons and or Twitch subs. You'll share that space with Twitch. I just want to keep out people who would cause trouble. So having a really tiny pay gate is good for that exactly that purpose. Additionally, if you don't want to give what is her name, Wojecki? It's the current YouTube CEO. I think no. Now that I think about it, I think the CEO has changed. Never mind. I forget what I said about YouTube, but if you don't want to give Daddy Bezos any money, oh boy, is your money better well spent on your favorite Twitch and YouTube streamers. Give money right to them, if you so desire. Excuse me. Well, there's the Grand Priest. And it did not take long to kill him. Which is good. We'll have more undead peeps very soon we gotta worry about. Hello there. It didn't take long for your friends to show up, did it, Grand Priest? Too bad your friends are all weak little undead. I can smite those. Okay, we're gonna go and trade our stuff. And then go and at least grab the one of the bleed resist ointment. We're at least gonna get that. Where is it? Bloodbound ointment. Nope, that is incorrect. It is Flame Drinker, Hoarfrost, Spirit Bane, Venom Guard, Storm Shroud. Oh, did we not keep any of those? Maybe not. Un momento per favore, please. Where is this? Death Whisper, Flame Drinker. Okay, I guess not. I guess not. Let's return all our stuff then, so we know what we're doing. We actually do want a full stack of ointments and stuff. Yeah, I know. We're seeing this over and over again, and it's really not my idea of a good time for you guys to have, like, repeat content like this. I hate it. But the alternative is missing out on questline stuff and having to go back and do it later. No one wants that experience either. So I'm kind of at that. I'm kind of at a rock and a hard place. Try to figure out what exactly I want to do for you guys. I guess here's an engagement question I can ask. You know, just as kind of the keeping in the spirit of what we've been talking about over the past hour or so. No, not quite an hour. Have you guys had stressful group projects before? People that wouldn't work with you, people that didn't know what they were doing, you know, extremely harsh deadlines, instructors that didn't make clear instructions for what to do on said project. They just kind of expected you to figure it out. You know, I'm here for you guys. I want you to be able to vent about your problems, not just me vent at you. I'm sure that's great radio feed, but this YouTube and Twitch content is kind of a two-way street. you got your input in this content makes it just as valuable as my own. We make the content together. That's the easiest way I know how to say it. We make it together. And so being able to just swap stories is a good use of time. It lets you vent and perhaps take some of those feelings or memories that you've suppressed yourself. Put them in a box. Or, you know, just try your best to drink them over or forget somehow. It allows the... Sorry, I'm getting a little sanctimonious here. I do not want to be selling that. You know, talking about it this way. Like, to a random stranger you don't know, I guess, might be better than holding it in and never experiencing it. It's better if you take the feelings out of the box and actually remind yourself that they are perfectly valid things to experience. And you aren't going crazy, you're not weak, you're not pathetic. You are enough. And we're all human. We all have emotions. They're good, they're bad, they're ugly, they're beautiful. That's the condition of being human. We have emotions. We are organic computers. Our inputs, our hormones, our outputs, our emotions, and logic sometimes. So if you feel like sharing that stuff, go ahead. That's what the question's there for. If you haven't or you don't want to, I'm not going to make you. Feel free to keep that stuff withheld if you would feel better with only a few people knowing it. That's your right. It's your right to be private. I wish more people understood that. That you don't have to be public with your feelings if you don't want to. You don't have to talk about private things if that's not what you want to do either. We need to make ointment, or we're not going anywhere. We need bleed resist badly.
The best I can with what I've got.
Okay, so looking at this, we've got Bloodbound Ointment, Bloodfang Oil, Death Whisper Oil, Life Stealer Oil, it's interesting where you don't exactly have like bleed resist or anything like that. I feel like Bloodbound Ointment should have helped bleed resist and just didn't for whatever reason. And I don't believe who would sell this. Hello, Edwin. How are you doing? Gods, you've done it. I was about ready to start boiling boots. High-class meals? I wish. Let's have a bowl of soup. Okay, it seems that Edwin has retained his soup-making skills. Good. We needed that. Yes, we already know what your wares are. They stink. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure that normal NPCs love the kind of gear he has for sale. We just need something with more punch than that. I'm really surprised we just don't have any, like, bleeding, apparel on us. Let me try searching. Let's bleed damage. More bleed damage. Bleeding resistance. Yeah, there's a component that has it. And there's Bloodfang Oil. What is this? Bleeding resistance? Foul runes, huh? That's how we could do it. Fouls for offhand, head and chest. Gotta keep my damage output somehow, or else I'm just not I'm not doing a whole bunch. Alright. Guess we're stuck with it. We'll make the best of it. Although, we're about to head into a challenge dungeon, so... let's make sure we carry the appropriate items. Specifically... I want... What other resistance are we not that good on? Perhaps physical resistance? Vitality. Yeah, vitality might be helpful. Death Whisper. Yep, let's take these. Elixir of the Aether. Yeah, we might as well take this. It'll help us out with casting. Like, if you're going into a challenge dungeon, you do want to make sure you bring along, you bring along any elixir, any, like, long-term elixirs that might help you. You never know what kind of difference they might make. Elixir of the Void? Wait, we don't really need this, but okay. Elixir of the Ancients, we also don't need this either. We might as well take this, put it on the bar, I guess. Elixir of Divine Protection. But those 10 seconds might actually make or break this time. Alright, let's get to it. So, our answer... Make sure I just didn't leave the internet running. So, we need to specifically go to this floor of suffering. And we need to clear everything out there. That's essentially what has to happen. I thought it was the final floor. It's actually the 4th floor. We're on floor 2. So we have 2 floors to go.
That's locked.
Ah, thanks. I forgot. Keys! We need keys! Tons of keys. Key warehouse. All the way down. Let's just grab a key and be done with it.
Got something you need stashed?
I'll take the whole kit and caboodle, thank you. No, I want space. We're taking one.
I'll keep an eye out.
I know, listen to Swirling Vortex doubling back on everything he says. On a more, positive note, I'm celebrating someone's birthday today. Their birthday isn't today, but we're celebrating it today. So we're gonna have a pizza party as we play, Tomb of Annihilation. That's going to be real fun. No, it's not a one-shot. It's a campaign we've been working on, but, it's important to do stuff with your friends. It's really important you do stuff with your friends. You only live once, folks. At least as far as I know. Who knows? Maybe there is an afterlife that actually... Let's just do this in order. Alright, that should help us out very nicely.
That skill's not ready.
So now our rule is don't take any greens, blues and epics, or blues and purples only. And let's wreck some crap up, shall we?
That skill's not ready.
So this is floor 1 of like 2. Oh no, wait, nope. It's the first floor. We only have to do the first floor and then we're good. I forgot. We already went through like 2 floors. See, I don't do challenge dungeons that often. So I can't say that I remember how everything works. And sometimes it's just easy to miss. It's easy to miss quest text. So we basically want to clean out this first floor, and we should find it. I doubt the game is going to make us, I doubt the game is just going to give it to us. We're going to probably have to earn it. But that's fine. We can earn it. I don't mind earning my keep, and I know this character is more than capable of it. Absolutely more than capable of it. And we don't even have to complete the challenge dungeon. We can leave. You can turn around and leave. That's the nice thing about it. We don't have to complete it. Or, you know, I can totally suck and just not... Okay, let's do it again. Well, we won't even have the same number of buffs this time. Yeah, you see what I mean? You can get totally wrecked by just not being too slow. Because that's ultimately what happened. I was too slow. Put these in here. Resort this. Get a new key.
Got something you need stashed?
Luckily, we packed plenty of keys, and let's make a few more. After all, we still have all the DLC to do.
Go on now.
And put 5 back.
Got something you need stashed?
Okay, separate this. Put that back. Where did it go? Over here. Okay,
I'll keep an eye out.
got it. Luckily, I put a rift right outside, so we can just restart. Are you going to shred things? Not nearly as fast, but it's important to pay attention.
I can't open that.
Are sealed and won't reopen in this session? You've got to be kidding me.
That's locked.
I have to exit the game and carve my way back through this? Wow, I thought it just starts over.
That's locked.
No, you have to replay up to this point. Okay, guess we're doing it. Exit main menu, start over. Wow. I guess I just didn't pay attention to the fine print. So, anyone else learn that for the first time and got very, very upset? I just got upset. I don't even remember exactly how that mechanic broke down. I thought it was, per run. But I guess it would have to be, if you're trying to make it roguelike, I guess it would just have to be every single time you die, you have to reset and do it again. Don't die doing those challenge dungeons, folks. Definitely don't die. Try to get it right the first time. I guess when we died doing some of these challenge dungeons, really, we already had to end up going somewhere else instead of doing another attempt at the challenge dungeon, so we never bumped into it. We just never bumped into it. And I never bumped into it off camera either. I never had to redo it this way. So, hey, we learned how something in vanilla worked. Congratulations. Hey, even though I've played this game before, not to completion, but I've played the challenge dungeons before. Sometimes you learn something new. And that's yet another quality of what I like about Chugga Conroy's playthroughs, is that Chugga Conroy actually learns things. Even when he does all this research into, like, all the cutting room floor material for a game, he's still learning things. There's still genuine excitement to what he does. It's something I don't know if I can replicate for myself. I wish I could, but I don't think I can. Maybe that's part of my problem, right? Is I'm trying to be someone I'm not. Maybe nature broke the mold on Mr. Rousseau, I think his name is. Maybe the nature broke the mold when they made him. That's a rather famous quote. I think nature broke the mold on that man so that he may never be made again. So I'm paraphrasing the quote because I don't remember it exactly. But it's this idea that some people are so unique that, there aren't doppelgangers of them. this idea that you can have unique people. Whereas, you know, subscribing to today's modern, like, biological theory suggests that you can only format a human face
That skill's not ready.
so many ways. Like a human face, human body, and when you get down to it, all you're really changing is the personality each time, and, like, lived experience. So doppelgangers of people are not unheard of, they're even common. For that reason. Or, well, no, as a result of that little, that logical thinking, having it's not unheard of for common people to have doppelgangers of themselves. And anyone who doesn't think they have a doppelganger is too proud, too haughty, or, you know, or they're dead. Nice. We died. Gotta go back and redo that again. Thankfully, we've already redone that a couple times this stream. I might have to take a break. You know what? You know what? I should take that break now rather than later. Because if I don't, then I'm never going to take it. I'm always going to be in a moment where I can't take a break. So, I know sometimes we only take a break every 2 hours. Sometimes we don't. I'm going to try to get more consistent about that. So that the way I take breaks on Twitch and the way I take them on YouTube are about the same. It's just good to be consistent. I'm going to go ahead and take a break. I'm going to try to make it about, I'd say about 5 minutes. I might not take a break the next hour, depending on what exactly is happening, but I think a break would be good for my legs. It allows me to stretch and avoid blood clotting, that kind of thing. Definitely feel free to stretch for at least that long, and I will see you after the break, I guess. Okay, we are back. I'm so sorry about that. Think I've kept roughly good on being about 5 minutes. Let's continue. So, the hope is to try to get through this today, even if it kills me. Even if this is all we do today, I will at least have considered getting the book progress. That's mostly what I care about. And I'll take any shred of minimal progress today. Because my level of care is still rather low, all things considered. I still got final exams I gotta worry about. And the determination of which might actually, change my major. Make me have to refigure out what I'm doing. Maybe I discover something about myself as a result of where I've been, that I realized, oh, maybe I'm not a STEM major. Maybe I've been a language, like an English major all along. Surprise! And everything I've done has just been an entire waste of time. I don't know yet. I don't know. Make a new rift. Oh! Almost got schooled. But okay, we're going to make sure. Let's just pay attention. When we see him bend over like that, he's not here to give us a good time. He is here to kill us. So let's do our best to respect that. So I guess one thing I can ask, or maybe talk about, is just, what's everyone's favorite game, or like favorite game series? Maybe I should be a little bit broader than that. Because I can't answer whether I've got a favorite game. I've played so many. And honestly, I'm a bit of a rube when it comes to games. I'm really easy to please. I'm often willing to even overlook moderate to severe flaws if I personally had a good time. That makes me something of a rube. I'm not a particularly very good reviewer on games. I can do a review if I've got a script or whatever, but I find that I'm a rube. I'm just too easily pleased. No, don't want greens, don't want greens. I don't know, is anyone else rubish about games? You know, I'm a simple man. I see game, I play it, and I either like it or don't. I wouldn't say I'm an absolute rube, but I guess I have very low standards. It can't feel like microtransaction city. That's really about the only thing I have to say. I'm willing to give MMOs a sort of a pass for this. Same with, you know, MOBAs, because that's kind of the whole business model is, you know, skins and cosmetics and other stuff. And games played for free need a cosmetic microtransaction model in order to survive. Everything else, though, I want it to be in about that same ballpark. If you're gonna have microtransactions because you think your game is just that monetizable, you know, limit it to skins, limit it to you know, alternate arts or optional stuff that players don't need. DLC is fine, but having an individual soundtrack is fine, but don't market it as like in-game downloadable content for the love of all that is holy, because it's not. A soundtrack is a soundtrack. You buy the soundtrack, you listen to it like 500 times, and then the value is gone. It's over. It's not like Shadow of the Erd Tree or some other big DLC where you get tons of value out of it. And you can replay it over and over. I'm fine with DLC. There just has to actually be something substantive and not, I got a weapon that can't be obtained in the game that I didn't need, and it totally breaks everything. Breaking things is fun, but you don't want that to be the crux of your content that you're offering your gamers. You want it to be substantial. Alright, I was about to say, I saw something blink, so where is that person gonna go? Ah, okay, so the vampiric drain is what's doing it. Makes sense. And bleeding, because of course there would be. I'm trying to think if there... I think I asked like 2 or 3 different questions that I'm not exactly expecting responses on, but I want people to think. We're going to put a rift right here in case we die. But I sure hope to God that I do not die again. At least not once we open the... once we open the actual skeletal door. I don't want to, I don't want to run into problems, so what can I say? Treasure trove. I don't particularly care. But if you find like a random treasure trove, it is totally worth your time otherwise to go and get it. I'm kind of in a whatever mood, so take that for what you will. I would normally open this on a different day. I'm just not feeling a treasure chest today. Maybe even I would go so far as to say, you know, if I weren't trying to do something incredibly important, i.e. advance a quest and get to DLC, then I would happily open one of those chests. I go back, grab the dynamite, and just get the goods. My favorite game series probably has to be Metroid. Like, I'm thinking back on what I asked, and I generally like sci-fi stuff. I've always been a huge science fiction fan. I remember reading the Star Wars books as a kid and being really, really enthused by them. I remember playing Mass Effect and really liking the game. I remember... I'll make sure I'm not doubling back on my favorite things. See, I do this sometimes where I'll get a different favorite thing, and then I'll forget I've already answered that question to like a previous favorite thing, and then people think I'm a hypocrite because he has forgotten his own favorite thing again. There is a non-zero possibility this has already happened with this question. See what I mean? I'm a rube. I don't exactly have favorite things. I'm too easily impressed. My brain is too pea-sized. And my wit is dry and flavorless, like watery porridge. But I make do because dry, watery, Wait, I just said dry and watery in the same sentence. What? I guess that's what I get for ranting at this point. I guess that's what I'm doing, is I'm basically ranting. I'm rambling. I don't know where I'm going. We've done this content before. We've seen it before. There's nothing I can offer in terms of commentary. I don't have any cutting room floor material I could talk about. Nothing. All I have is me. And I have to be enough for myself. But hopefully I am also enough for you. I would like that to be the case. We're gonna get out of here and bar the door. Bar the exits. Okay. Oh, and that was before the random challenge dungeon. I hesitate to think what my performance might be afterwards. I think that bleed resist being 10% is really what's gonna kill me trying to do this. Like, bleeding is an incredibly common status effect. It's too easily employed, like, by all the big brutes around here. I wouldn't be surprised if I had to actually go and change my augments again, just so I could do this. I really wouldn't be surprised. Oh, we've leveled, I see. Good. Gonna wait, make sure this guy doesn't bend over. If I see him bend over, I run. So I bent over and started blasting. Yeah, I'm totally rambling. I'm sorry, guys. My commentary is not the best today. And I'm a bit disheveled, too. Yeah, this month has just not been good. And, you know, for the record, for anyone who had it worse, I totally get you. My problems are not... You know, they're definitely not on the same level as, like, not having food every day. Not starving. They're first world problems. Because there are people who have dealt through worse and kind of just expect you to shut up and take it. Because if you're not worrying about the clothes on your back, if you're not worrying about food on your table, if you're not worried about, you know, if you're not worried about where your next meal is coming from, or whether or not you have shelter from the elements, then nothing else kind of matters. And they're right. Nothing else matters. You've got the basics, you can deal with anything else. Not having the basics is incredibly hard for human beings. What can I say? We're gonna wait for that to die down. We're gonna redistribute these points. I need physique. Having an extra % of bleed resist, very useful. I meant 9% before, I think. just make sure. Capacity to pain, generate wounds. No, I didn't think so, but it was worth a look. Going to put a rift here. Yeah, my commentary is just garbo, and it's... I don't really have good excuses for it. I guess I just kind of have nothing left to say. I'm gonna take a Discord message real quick. So I gotta, like, put on the BRB screen. So sorry. I'll try to make it quick. So sorry about that. Rest should be good from there. So, how is everyone liking Grim Dawn? We're 15 episodes in. I can't say that this episode is going to be particularly innovative today, or we're going to talk about new material. We probably won't. My hope is that we at least get closer to fighting the Logarian, but I do not hold my breath. Like, at all. But I hope everyone's been liking the series so far. I put forward my best foot in trying to make the builds that we come up with work. Also, before we, like, complete the series, even if we get done with DLC, I still have to go through and actually show off the Order of Death's Vigil quests. So I still have a Necromancer that I'm working on, like a Necromancer style character I'm working on, because I think it would be just the most fitting thing ever. He isn't there yet. He's getting there, but he isn't there yet. He'll probably be like 50, 60 something by the time... No, maybe more like 40 or 50 something by the time those quests get their start. Well, leveling with pets is... it's just built different. What can I say? We're going to put this here. I don't know why, because, you know, it doesn't exactly matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. Sort. Death Whisper Ointment. Just too bad we don't have anything for bleed resistance. Just feels wrong. But okay. As soon as we get to suffering, I mean business. I might even have to stop talking just to get it done. But yeah, I've put a good bit of work into this series. I hope people like it. It's not perfect. There are quite a few things that if I had the energy and willpower to go back and change, I would. And I probably would have just played through the whole game ahead of time instead of, you know, halfway, which is what I tend to do when I want to start these LPs, is I'll play through halfway, and then at some point I allow legitimate surprise to take over. But I know if you're trying to do like a sort of walkthrough experience, that's not good enough. So I guess I still have to figure out what I want to do in terms of content, like exactly how I want to do it, instead of I think this is good enough and I'll keep playing. I don't know. Maybe I'm also just being pulled in too many directions. where I'm having to like try to satisfy my school life and this, and I essentially have to pick. I'm at the point where I need to pick, or I'm not going to do anything meaningful with my life. I don't know. I'm 31, and I'm still in this portion of my life where I'm going to college, and I'm doing YouTube, and I'm doing other stuff on the side. Most people have a job by my age. Most people are married by my age. I'm going to go ahead and flask up right now. I actually don't know. I think it's somewhere in here. We're on the correct floor. We just have to do the correct room. Oh, beautiful. I love when a good pre-concocted plan comes together. I didn't want to pick up a green, but here we are. We can dump that right now. And I know this is usually an hour before I normally stream, but I'm normally also not streaming on a Saturday either. I usually have this day free to do what I want to do anyway, but I said in Twitter and in Discord that I was not going to, you know, mess up again. That if I missed this stream, I was going to make it up, and I meant that. So please consider this, you know, compensation for my screw-up. If nothing else. Oh. You gotta love being able to take things out from a distance. That feels... It just feels so nice. Oh, and you're here. Cool. Cool. I definitely didn't want you up in my face. I guess we'll just have to take it. Oh. Yeah, I just love this sort of thing. Hopefully these aren't trapped. I don't think so. There are no enemy... Oh. He says, and then enemies rise out of the dirt. He has to remember that. Coin has to remember that you will just find enemies in dirt around here. Why don't you step into my office then? I love that I have pets and area of effects that can just do this work for me. Which leaves me feeling really quite safe, although he says as he kind of has to make sure he's not, you know, allowing a ghoul to sort of chase him down. Good. I was really worried about that. My biggest advice with challenge dungeons is to take your time.
That skill's not ready.
And, you know, don't get discouraged if you die in here. You can always grind up the key. You can always make more keys. Because when you come here for the first time, you will get the ability, you will get the recipe for making the keys. And as long as you're willing to put in the time and grind for the keys, grind for, like, the seals you need to make the keys, you should be good. You should be good. And, you know, come in prepared. Don't do what I'm doing, where you just don't take anything. You know, try to have a good formulation for what you expect enemies to do while they're here. I'm kind of doing this because I'm over-leveled for it, but when you're tackling these things at the correct level, it's really important you come prepared. This is true whether you're in Vanilla or in Dawn of Masteries. I imagine even more so with Dawn of Masteries. Just because you know, you're always going to have enemies that step to you and are leveled. It's not like vanilla where you can actually over level it. I over level a good chunk of enemies in here, but as you can see, we're still dealing with elites and heroes that you know, are my level. So if you're like looking for a constantly level, like if you're looking for a constant challenge, then this is good. You know, play Dawn of Masteries. Play it for the interesting masteries. Don't, I mean, play it for whatever reason you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would play it for the interesting content and not because you can push hard mode with it easily. That really isn't going to get you very far in Grim Dawn. The meta is defensive. There's no changing that. No matter what mod you play, it's gonna be this. It's gonna be the same. That's just how Grim Dawn is designed. It's just like Diablo. If you don't have the ability to resist stuff, elemental or physical damage types, you're not getting very far. I don't think that guy... Is that guy done? Yeah, I think that guy's done. Good. Yeah, I'm going to be super thankful once we can just kind of leave and not have to worry about finishing the actual dungeon. Because we've already finished the actual challenge dungeon. We don't have to complete it for the sake of completing it. Because there are rewards that come at the end, but we already got most of them, you know? We've already got most of those rewards. So what you're getting is mostly more loot. Nice. Oh, look, there's the archive. Yay! I thought it was in a random I thought it was in a location. Turns out a random enemy had it. Cool. So we're just going to decimate these last enemies and then leave. So we don't have to keep going here. Did we get a green just now? No. Good. And we didn't even have to use our elixir either. Good fortune, I guess. So what are we going to do with this? Well, we're going to go talk to Anasteria and figure out what else we've got to do. If only I could... If only it would at least let me leave. Like, let me make a portal to leave instead of, you know, having it be a two-way portal. Have it be a one-way portal. Have it be an item or something. Like a rift key. I don't know. I feel like they could have done something to innovate this so that the player at least always has the ability to return home. Even if it is at some stupid steep iron bit cost or something. I don't know. I think the doors have sealed behind me, so... I don't think I can get out. I should be able to.
Locked.
Oh, that's locked. That's really, really locked. Okay, I'm trying to figure this out.
That's locked.
Sometimes I'm able to finagle the rift. Sometimes I can't. I don't think I can. Okay. We log out. That's fine. You know what we're going to do now that we've logged out? We're going to go get all that dynamite. We're going to break down all this stuff. Might as well do it now while we have the time. Provided the game doesn't crash. The game might have crashed. I see it struggling to, like, load. As a reminder, I think I've put that in the mod description or in the video description every single time. But just in case, this is a modded series, which you can totally go and get the mod for yourself at nexusmods.com. You can download that mod. You know, just follow the extraction instructions. Like put the mod file in like your in like a created folder in Steam. All right, I think the game crashed. We're just gonna close the program. Yeah, it crashed. That's what I thought. It should even with what we have going on the computer, it really should not have taken that long to load. So we're gonna do it again. Where's my purple Teletubby? Again. That's what I need. I need that on like, I need that as a soundboard or something. I am so torn about soundboards. On one hand, I love the effect they can have. On the other hand, I feel like they're super gimmicky. Like a badly done soundboard is worse than having no soundboard.
You need stashed?
Give me just one moment, please. Sorry about that. I had to go attend to an unexpected guest. If you check Discord, some issues. Okay. Give me a moment. I'll have to be right back, guys. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take care of some private business. Where were we? Also, I'm going to probably forgo my second break because I've spent like over 20 minutes of it. Just kind of, I guess just kind of having to do that real life stuff. Maybe not 20 minutes. That seems a bit excessive, but I've given you guys more than enough time, you know, either on break or like a forced break. I'm going to do my best to give us some time between those. What do we do now, you might ask? Well, simple. We go back and talk to Anasteria. Hopefully we don't have to do any more, oh, I'm forgetting something, as I usually tend to do. We gotta manage our inventory, break down all this gear, then go talk to Anasteria. Trust me, that'll be worth way more of our time than just talking to Anasteria by itself. By herself. Promise. Just going to quickly make over these substitutions. Wow, we're starting to run out of room, aren't we? We'll have to fix that. And I think everything else is just in the... just have to move it over. I definitely think we're going to need at least 100 sticks of dynamite. Give me 1 second. I got to make sure there aren't any more Discord messages I have to respond to. Okay. We're done. I moved a little quickly on that. Hopefully nothing was spotted, but can't be helped if it was. We're going to put this back. Also feel fairly... yeah, I feel fairly sure I'm... You don't want to, like, just manually stack items unless you know what you're doing. Oh, here's this... here's that stack, speaking of which. Over here. Trust me, you're bound to make some mistakes managing inventory. Use shift left click. It's useful. Alright, now we have to go actually buy more dynamite. At least 100. I so wish there were like a shift or control click. Control or like an alt click version. There is not. No right click or center click variants either. Yuck. I'm gonna buy an extra 20 because I think my estimate is off. So, while we break... I imagine this has to be everyone's least favorite part. Like, oh, why can't he do this off camera? I've had to do this a few times on camera. Either I forget to do it off camera, or, you know, real life happens and I just lose track of it. To be honest, Grim Dawn is the first thing I lose track of when I tend to get overwhelmed with both, you know, real life and streaming material at the exact same time. I really do. Sorry, I'm human. What can I say? I'll always make the attempt to do better, and I hope I succeed at it, but you never know what life is going to throw your way. You have to be ready for it. Life might give you problems. And I believe that's the remnants of the conversation. I might have to mute Discord so I don't get those on the recording. Hopefully nobody else hears that. Recording? Live stream. Man, what a great stream this has been. Streaming when you think you're recording, when you think you're streaming, streaming when you think you're recording, mixing up your terms every which way. You know, this happens to me a lot. That's why I have to have a script, or I lose control. But I don't like scripts because they feel disingenuous at times. I don't know. feel like my presentation probably would have been helped with a script, but it just feels so unnatural. Very unnatural. I'm fine talking to people. Also, the alternative with the script is that I'm looking at my script instead of looking where I'm supposed to be. That's just an error in public speaking. Really, that's not... I don't know. What is everyone's biggest issue with public speaking? Because most people have one. If you don't, you're a very good public speaker already, but I find it tough to think my way through a sentence and speak quickly and, you know, not take up people's time with useless things they don't care about. I guess I'm an unfocused speaker. That's what happens when you can go a while without speaking in public. Or you're used to, like, speaking to people in a non-formal setting. So I'm good at talking with people in general, but when it comes to staying on a very particular topic for a long time, I can struggle sometimes. And the only reason it looks like I don't is because I'm just that well put together. And that's really the summation of my life, is I look well put together and I'm just not. This commentary is garbage. I don't care what anyone says. Too much ambling over things no one cares about. It is garbage. But people didn't come here to listen to a stream of put-downs. They're here to play Grim Dawn, damn it. And I'm gonna make sure that happens. Excuse my French. Wow, did my readjustment for it over? That's really interesting. I think I'm still off by like at least 20 sticks of dynamite. I guess that's what happens when you're constantly holding blues over. And no, there ain't gonna be a blue Christmas with all these blues either. Instead, they get broken down and put in my inventory, in my stash, to be converted into legendary tokens so we can constantly get better gear, because that is how Grim Dawn works. At least that's how Dawn of Masteries works anyway. God, if that were available in vanilla, nobody would be modding Grim Dawn. It would already be perfect. It would already be perfect. I hear they're working on a Grim Dawn 2 as well. Or if they're not working on it, I sure hope they are. Crate Entertainment has to know that they struck gold with this game. It's got a good mix of Lovecraftian horror and non-Lovecraftian horror elements together that it's just got a good mix of those things. The setting is gritty, it takes itself seriously, there's good plot, and you can even skip the plot. It's optional. You can just spam click and press A if that's what you want to do through Grim Dawn. But I think if you take a second and actually appreciate the story they've put together, maybe not appreciate, maybe that's the wrong word. That already assumes you think of it in a good light. But at least listen to what the lore has to say. Are there holes? Yes, absolutely. It's not told it's not told from start to finish. It's told through notes and item descriptions. You can lose bits of story. It's similar to no, I shouldn't say it's similar to the Souls series. Look, I'm a Souls gamer. Everything is I can relate everything to Soulsborne if I try hard enough. But I guess Dark Souls tells its story through items. You use notes instead of items for these, but you could miss the notes. You have to loot the notes. You could miss them. And yes, there's some things you get through dialogue. That's not any different. There are also things you can get through dialogue in Dark Souls, but
See anything you like?
or in Elden Ring. Even Elden Ring, there's a lot more you can get through text in like spoken dialogue in Elden Ring, but you still have to find lore. You still have to go out and actually read the grave sites with the lore etched on them. You still have to read item descriptions. You just replace item descriptions with the codex, and sometimes the items still have text on them. Like, look, spell-woven bindings used by the Coven of Bismael to strengthen control over 7 beings. So that already tells you that they use implements in their spellcraft. We have what? 3, 7, 13. Summon token trader. Oh, right. You don't want to summon that. If you summon the token trader, you're losing all your gear. Period. Doesn't matter what's on it. It's gone.
The shipments have started to arrive from Homestead. I suppose that means I can stop researching ways to turn Rifthound meat into something edible. The man wasn't very good at keeping notes.
Yes, I know, but you're gonna have to make do with what we have, Kasparov. Right, shift click, not control click. Don't control click. You won't get you'll just be spamming your keyboard and your mouse buttons and getting nowhere. So, thoughts after Elix, because I think I might have mentioned before that already. You know, I have a plan for after Grim Dawn. I want to bring you guys this other series. But you might be asking, well, hey, Swirling Vortex, what do you intend to do after you've blown through the 2 bits of content you've already started to make? And then have to go back and redo, like, a live series of them. I'm glad you asked. I probably intend to bring some longer-winded RPGs to YouTube. That's kind of what I want YouTube to be, is this nice holding ground for content that would bore the living hell out of people on Twitch. Because on Twitch, and I suppose maybe live streamed YouTube content to some lesser extent, doesn't do well with RPGs. Like, a good example would be like Baldur's Gate. Although Baldur's Gate's kind of a cult classic, so it gets some kind of a pass, but lots of other times, I've noticed that a series that tends to have RPG elements just tends to not do well in algorithm. And I don't understand, because people beg for it. And I'm not talking about specifically my algorithm. I don't have an algorithm to speak of. I'm too tiny. I am too tiny. Instead, what I would say, also, why is there a desecrated shrine there? Oh, right, that's the Shrine of Mogdragon. That's right. Alright, back to Fort Ikon. I was like, wait, what's that again? What is going on? Please don't crash. Speaking of... I need to make sure that I'm answering Discord messages, so give me just a second. Okay, I just had to make sure that there wasn't any important stuff I was missing. We're still working on the particulars of the pizza party, and I want to make sure that goes well. And you know, I'm not missing messages that I need to reply to like immediately. Pizza party and D&D. I can't think of anything that's more classic than that. All right, Anasteria. We have your bloody codex. What are you gonna do for us? Is this the last thing you need? Please tell me it's the last thing you need and we can get on with this. Yes, here is your tome. Wonderful. This archive is a wondrous font of knowledge that dates back all the way to the golden age of Arcovia. It will take me some time to study thoroughly. In the meantime, there is another thing I require, but I'm afraid that even you may not be able to procure it. What, is it another bloody codex? In order to learn about our chthonic enemies, I must acquire something from the void itself. Obsidian is frequently found in the depths of the chthonic plane, but it can't be just any old chunk of it. No, I must have the most vile, concentrated obsidian you can find. That can only be acquired within the Bastion of Chaos, which you can enter through a rift the cult has opened at the necropolis. Seek out a monstrous creature called Galar Bargok, and bring me the obsidian it possesses. Sure. Please tell me that this has us going to about the same place. Obsidian Throne, prove your worth. No, that's Bang Gargoth, Black Heart of the Void. The Bastion of Chaos through a rift in the necropolis. Where is the necropolis? Okay, through the Plains of Strife. Good, good, good.
I can't open that.
Yep, as I've already said, we, the outsider, I think that's, yeah, the outcast. I don't know why I said outsider. I guess it's similar, but not exactly the same. What was that noise? My dad must have the contents of his, computer turned up really loud, or have, like, huge speakers, so I could hear where there are warning sounds and a whole bunch of other things. Anyone else have parents like that? Who just have to have their stuff cranked up real loud because they're either hard of hearing or they just don't care? It's annoying. I don't like it. But it's not my house. So you kind of just have to deal with it. Of course, if it were my house, I'd be living by myself. So there's that. I'm grateful that I've given it a place to stay and everything. It's not like I'm not grateful, but man, are there some quirks that I could just do without. I contemplate turning off the loot filter for blues, but then we don't make any money. Because they're... What the hell was that? Did anyone else hear that? It's like, his essence is mine. I feel like I killed like a boss that was out of place and just didn't recall. Yeah, so somewhere along this path we found the Ashen Wastes. We now need to keep going and find the Forsaken Wastes. I have to kind of make our way to the necropolis now. So I'm happy to be making progress again. I'm more than happy to be, you know, back out here. It's nice to be here and not doing a challenge dungeon, you know, again, for like the eighth time. What on earth?
I can't do that yet.
God, that's a lot of damage. It's nice to just be back out here, really. I miss actually having a real soundtrack to listen to. Okay, we are not standing in the bad. Something I struggled with in my World of Warcraft raiding career is not standing in bad stuff. I spent a lot of nights when I was like 21 or, you know, 22, you know, constantly learning to not stand in bad and getting upset when other people stand in bad. Just like a common trope. Can't do DPS if you die. Can't heal if you die. Can't tank if you die. So try not to stand in the bad stuff. Unless you specifically have to. Like, that's the caveat is don't stand in bad until you're required to stand in bad. I remember several mechanics where I had to soak something. This was before I raided with my shaman. I used to play an elemental shaman. That's what I quit WoW with, was an elemental shaman. And elemental shamans at that time were not particularly good at mechanic soaks. We could do it with the right talents, but that was it. We had to have the right talents. So this was before the talent overhaul in Dragonflight, I think. Yeah, Dragonflight sounds correct. Which, good on them for having a system that is somewhere between old and, like, new. It's a nice change of pace. But when you still had basically like a pool of 18 talents to choose from, I remember having to I'm trying to remember if I ever took like a spell redirection totem. I don't think I did. I know several times I had to respec for the movement speed totem, even though I personally didn't need it, because it wasn't what I needed. It was what the group needed. We had a lot of paladins and death knights at the time, and neither of them had good movement speed cooldowns. Neither of them did. I believe death knights are only like slightly slower than paladins at the time. They were both considered like the slowest classes in the book. Yeah, I remember specifically having to take that totem for them, and it sucked. What the hell? Oh, that's right. We had to stumble through a minefield. Yep, I don't miss this one bit. Not one bit. I was happier not having to, you know, pace through a minefield again. Don't worry, once we get past this, we'll actually be in new territory. I know about what we need to do, but I don't know all the places of where we have to be yet. I'm gonna put a rift here. Which I think I've mentioned before, that I want to fix this, and now that I have the summer off, you know, once the summer term would actually start, I'll be able to, you know, actually get that appropriate style, and fix that for us. I see what's happening. I am stepping into a minefield. What on earth is going on? Wait, oh my god, the mines are acting. I didn't even notice this until just now. These mines are acting as though, they're attracting lightning to them. That's so cool. I did not notice. I wish that armed them to work against enemies, but I'll settle for it just being like a cool thing I can do. I remember when cool things that you used to do involved like sound effects in games. I remember messing around with like Link Between the Worlds, or Link's Awakening, like the remake of Link's Awakening. I hit the I hit several buttons I didn't want to. Oh, and some sounds were just hilarious. Hello, Kaliska. It's nice to see you again. I'm glad you could be part of my TED Talk. Have a nice day. Never return. Hello, terraformers. Goodbye, terraformers. Nice to see ya. I'm glad you dropped stuff for me to take. Well, let's get this show on the road. Right, let's get out of here.
I can't do that yet.
Hello, Eris. Avarice. Why did I say Eris? It's Avarice Marrowell. But she's dead now. We're good. We're good now. And hopefully we won't have to break down, he says, while also simultaneously stumbling into like 5 or 6 landmines.
I can't do that.
Yeah, I thought that might happen. That was just dumb of me. Thank goodness this isn't hardcore. You can play this hardcore where you only live once, and let me tell you what. I can't imagine that there would be any runs that didn't just end to that minefield. And I can't imagine anyone who doesn't have potions or... I say potions. Tonics or anything like that. I bet there have been some tears over this specific place. Yet we haven't even even explored like most of it. And still there are issues. Hello, Black Legion. Glad you could make it. Oh, I can't tell you how invigorated I feel now that we're making real progress. We're just gonna move past you and call it a day, good sirs. You could fight amongst yourselves, because that is what's happening. Man, I just love detonating these things, it seems. Let's take this before we die again. And put a rift right here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. I could listen to that all day. Ah, there's still some hidden mines around here. I thought maybe we'd gotten rid of them, but I guess not. So what's everyone's favorite way to, like, play this type of game? I think I've asked this a few times. No, I scratch that. I know I've asked that several times, but I always find that there are new people that maybe aren't quite sure what to talk about. Here's an easy topic. You know, if you've ever played other games similar to Grim Dawn, and there's a build, is it like your scrappy, fast builds? Is it, you know, your tanky builds? Here's the gates of Necropolis. We are here. What? Also, I just realized we made it last episode. Why did I walk here again? Wow, that is so wrong. On just so many levels. I'm not letting you surround me that easily today. You're going to have to fight a little harder, Aetherials. Fight harder. Alright, so here are the gates of Necropolis. Now, at the gates of the Necropolis, we have the Tomb of Watchers and the Bastion of Chaos. Yeah, this is it. We're in the final stretch now. Got 45 minutes before we'll have to break away from it more permanently, but... Well, I say more permanently, but all I meant is, you know, onto brighter, greener pastures. We even got some sweet lore. I've never been here. Let me tell you what. I've never been here. I've never touched it. Like, I didn't even make it to Fort Ikon before I started this LP. I still didn't make it to Fort Ikon, and I had that chance multiple times. School's busy. What can I say? I've been commissioned to construct a grand mausoleum that will house the thousands of dead from the great battle with the West. This will be my magnum opus. The project will take many decades, and at my age it is unlikely I will live to see its completion. I have been drafting the plans in my head. The main tomb will be centered around a vast well, which will house most of the fallen. The quantity of earth we will need to move is staggering, but it will serve as a foundation for the rest of the city of the dead. While this is being done, a small army of civil servants will be carefully collecting the bodies, crafting notices of identification, and preparing them for temporary burial. It will be many years before the fallen receive their proper burial. We have started construction of temporary mass grave structures to hold them. Some of the families insist that they take the remains, to which I have no objection. But I cannot imagine why they would not want their loved ones to be honored here at the site of their glorious victory. I should note that the bodies of the enemy will be shipped back to their border and left for them to do as they please. I mean, no disrespect to their fallen, but quite frankly, they are not our problem. There are thousands of workers being commissioned for the digging, hauling, and carving of stone. Where Ireland found so many able-bodied and willing workers so quickly is obvious. Slaves, brought from the Imperial prison mines, or enemy soldiers from the war. Distasteful, but there's too much work to get done to be timid about this. Aw, I was hoping this was just like a well-thought-out cemetery. Dang it. So many things to consider and prepare. I'm eager to get started. I can only hope my wife and son will be happy here. It won't be much more than a mining town for a few years, but this work is too important to leave to any other. The Grand Architect, is that Hernal? Hernal or Hemel? Hemel Astari. I think it's Hemel Astari. Well, so much for this just being a nice cemetery that happened to be a battleground. I've heard of honoring your dead, but this takes it a little too far. Also, the topic of slaves is less than appealing. But you know what? This kind of I shouldn't say scratch the surface. Slavery is a very big deal. There's a reason why so many people are still having to talk about it. It would be nice if nobody knew what that concept was. It would be nice if some words were just not in lexicon. But I digress. That would require a complete divorce from previous human history. And humans are always just a couple steps removed from wanting to take advantage of someone. Even for the right reasons. And just when you thought you wouldn't see any more Aetherials, right? You're like, oh man, it's the big battle with the Logarian. We're dealing with Chthon. Chthon was like the real enemy behind the scenes. No. Remember, this is a faction war. It's still ongoing. The Aetherials are constantly looking to outdo the Chthonians. Or I should say, Chthon and his minions. They're always looking to outdo one another. And that means the depravity, the horror, the suffering is the only thing that increases. No matter how many milestones are made before the end. Well, regardless of who's doing what, we're here to stop it. Right? We're here to put an end
to all this. Quite honestly, I would be pretty happy if we ended it today. You know, ended like the main game at episode 15. And this could be like a 30-part series or something. Instead of, you know, like Elden Ring, where it's got to be cut up into so many more pieces than that. We're on like episode 47 in Elden Ring. Really, it's more like episode 49. If you were to number every part and take away the A's and like B's or whatever. It really would be closer to like 50 and still counting. Speaking of which, I stream on Twitch. Yeah, I think people might have guessed. Did you know I have a VODs channel? YouTube.com/swirlingvortex09VODS. You could Google search and find it. Isn't that just great? You know what goes on my VODs channel? Everything I do on Twitch, it goes up on YouTube. If you guys are like, oh man, I want to see what these streams are about, but I don't want to go on Twitch. You don't have to. You can sit on YouTube, literally view the VODs channel, and get the show. Now, if you do want to know, if you're like, I want the live experience, well, no, the VODs aren't going to replicate that. You actually got to watch live at twitch.tv/coinstamp. Just coinstamp, and you'll find me. I'm here. Just look for the Viking. Just look for like the Viking icon. That's how you'll know. Viking. Yeah. Look for the character, Viking-like character. You'll know. You'll know you're in the right place. Well, at least we're making the Outcast very happy. Which I guess I can't really complain. An Aetherial that has turned on their other Aetherials? Wow. How novel. How original. An Aetherial who thinks the practices of other Aetherials go too far. I think what most likely happened is that Aetherial adapted, like, the Anasteria adapted her host's proclivities and figured out that they could coexist together instead of actually, you know, one dominating the other. It looks like it's noble, but really the Aetherial possessing the human being is still wrong, no matter what else is going on. If only Aetherials could exist on their own. Like outside of a body, or if they need like a body to inhabit. You know, what does that say? Who's really the strong one? It's the Aetherial. No questions asked. The Aetherial is the one who can hello, chthonic entities. I'm not letting you kill me today. Not today. Never again. So I feel like if we stick to the right-hand side, we'll find more Aetherials. Hello, is that Bloodsworn? Okay, Bloodsworn. Got it. Got it. Good. Oh, beautiful. I love the smell of sizzled flesh in the morning. Especially if that flesh is human. I jest. But, look, gotta find something to talk about. Ow. Oof, that hurts. Wow, how long does that last? Why didn't we get a version of that? I bet it would probably be too powerful if it did that. Nemesis? That's a nemesis.
Do that yet.
Okay, that was scary as hell. Just random nemesis waiting for you? Ah, I guess it could be worse. You know, they could have sent the Logarian after us. The Logarian. You know, I wonder what, I wonder if you could turn that into, like, a math-themed final boss. Like, ah, yes, I'll defeat you with the power of logarithms. Now, wouldn't that be hilarious? It's like it would be like the final pilot episode of Cyber Chase. Ah, yes, your final opponent. The final thing you have to do is solve logarithms. There's a giant monster called the Logarian harassing the people inside cyberspace. Nah, I don't know what the premise of cyberspace? Cyber Chase. It's Cyber Chase. That's the edutainment show. Listen, my sibling and I, we grew up on a lot of edutainment shows. A lot of edutainment shows. Magic School Bus? Yeah, we sat around and watched a lot of that. Arthur sat around and watched a lot of that. The Cyber Chase is like specifically the math one. I think that's the name of the that's the name of the show. Yeah, we spend a lot of time doing that stuff as kids. And I took it a step further. I looked at calc books as a kid, okay? Did I understand what the symbols meant? No, probably not. But I knew kind of in concept what they were doing, because they spent like the first couple of chapters in that calc book talking about, you know, taking continuous sums. Now, I understand what that means now, to take a continuous sum. I don't understand it enough to do it, but I know that, you know, if you want to take an infinite, if you want to make precise measurements over, you want to make precise measurements of something, and you don't want to continually take the area of the object over and over and over and over and over again, and there's still just leftovers afterwards, you take a continuous sum. That's what that fancy S means. You take a sum, you do it, you perform a continuous sum. Not hard. Conceptually. In practice, like actually setting up the continuous sum, nightmarish. There's a reason why I'm not a math major, but, you know, I'm more turned on by math than I used to be. Weird, I know. Maybe it has something to do with the physics project I just did. Or I just got a chance to complete. I'm be very careful. Horace. Cursed Smith. That's new. Haven't seen him before. Hello. Oh, you're an undead smith. Okay. Wait, we can make tainted brain matter? Interesting. Ah, so I didn't even know this existed. Good to know. What else can you do? I feel like a lot of these are my own recipes, and I'm just looking at them again. Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. Yeah, this is exactly what's happening. Okay. That's cool. I mean, I'm not going to use the service. I don't need it, but we got it if we do need it. That's great. See, learning things all the time. It's fun. It's good to turn on your brain. Hello, Aetherial. Goodbye, Aetherial. It's fun to turn on your brain. I mean, it's nice to turn off your brain every so often, but I find that, and this is just me personally, there are many people who would just prefer their brains turned off only when they want to. I find it to be so boring to engage in brainless activity. It's nice when you've had a bad day, and I guess if every day is bad, then all you want to do is turn your brain off, but so you're not thinking about the things that hurt you. But if you're doing that, you're running away from your problems. You're not actually coming to a meaningful resolution. You're just avoiding them. We're all human. We all avoid our problems. We all spend an indeterminate amount of time doing this. But, I find that I do better in life when my brain is turned on. And I'm not saying that people by default have it turned off. I'm only saying I feel more alive when my brain is on. When I'm learning things. I'm hungry for knowledge. It's what I like to do. Whether someone else is teaching me or I'm learning it on my own, it just feels good to learn. I get the dopamine and endorphins when I learn things and I make sense of them. And the lights just click. Hello, Aetherial. We have more level ups. Just gotta keep pushing. We'll eventually get that level up. I might even trade Cold Snap, given that it no longer creates this nice ice wall. I wish it still did. I wish you could actually erect a wall of ice. But oh well. The version 1.4.0.b it does actually do a good job of fixing all the bugs, all the ways in which Dawn of Masteries had errors in it, and it's more compatible with like the latest version of Grim Dawn. So I can't really fault anyone for. I can't really fault the mod author for wanting to essentially make the upgrade, because that's the thing about mod apocalypses, right? It's like Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is gonna have version 1.6. And a lot of mods are built on version like 1.5 or 1.57 or something like that. And when 1.6 comes along, it's going to completely change the file structure. And mod authors are at least given some warning. So they know that none of their mods will work in this new game, this new lasting game version until like the Haunted Chocolatier is out. Where Mr. Barone will no longer be working on Stardew Valley, except like continual bug fixes. Instead, it'll be, the Haunted Chocolatier that they're paying all their attention to, which is fine. Look, you can't be known for one game forever unless you turn it into a service. You need to do other stuff eventually. It gets boring. Life is boring if you're doing the same thing all the time. Gotta have zest, some variety. You have to have variety, or you'll go insane. You'll go insane. Hello. Oh, never mind. Nothing useful. I did see a piece of gear, but of course it's hidden due to our loot highlighter, our loot filter. Loot filters are useful. This is what we'd be getting if a loot filter were turned off. We're not interested in yellows. Where are other notes for, I guess let's take an opportunity to, like, sort our stuff. Because I thought I picked up a note on all this somewhere. No. No notes. This is fine. Ugh. This place is truly labyrinthine, truly maze-like. But it could be worse. I mean, it could be maze-like and a slog, which I imagine in vanilla, it totally is. And you don't want to be here any longer than you have to. You have this overpowered build. I mean, it most likely is. I've gotten comments and stuff already. Speaking of comments, I do read them. I do respond to comments. Please keep sending them. I mean, I'm not gonna like beg for comments or anything, but I do read them. I do know they're there. YouTube lets me know when I have comments. I may not exactly always respond. I mean, I do always respond to comments, as long as they're not trollish in some way, but, hello. This is a crypt entrance. I don't know what we're gonna find here at the crypt, so I want to keep going for now. We might have one more episode before we end it, before we're ready for DLC. Don't know yet. What was I saying? I think I already forgot. I'm not ready to be a geriatric at my age. I'm not ready to be someone who is on their rocker, taking their meds so they don't forget. I'm not ready for that. Not that aging is ugly. You know, aging is a good thing. People are not meant to live forever. But, you know, there's aging gracefully, and then there's just kind of like, whatever. Life is what it is. I feel sorry for people who lose their memory as they age. That feels bad. I would literally rather die than deal with that. Because my memory is everything. I'm not in good shape. My smarts they come and go. My memory is what I have. I don't want to be this person who I don't want to be a vegetable. I'd rather die. I would rather someone put a bullet in my brain and be done with it. If that's what happens to me. Another devotion point. We haven't gotten any one of these in a while. Did we have a constellation we were working on? I felt like we had one. We had to make a determination where we were going. Or so Coin thought. So Coin thought. Okay. Let's figure it out then. Let's go based on what kind of final talent we're looking for. 6, 10, and 10? Ooh, no, this wasn't the one we were looking for. So I'm just kind of reading over these again. I had a plan, and I have probably long since forgotten it. Sorry. It's kind of how school life goes. Sometimes you just forget things, especially if they don't pertain to your studies. Especially if they don't pertain to studies or anything. I will say this is a bad time. This is a bad time to be forgetting stuff. I'll say that much. Guardians. I think I remember it being Flight of Empyrean. I cannot find a constellation I was working on. If I did, then it would be easy, but I don't. You always want to have like your final constellation in mind when you're wanting to work on these devotion charts. Oh, we have 3 points. Okay. That I thought I only had 1 point. We have 3. Oh, that must have. I don't remember that. We haven't unlocked multiples of devotion points and haven't spent them yet. So I'm thinking those 2 points came from when we activated the ultimate mode. That's probably what happened. I guess let's try going for a Hand of Ultos. Give 10. Oh, that's a lot, though. And I always want to be furthering our damage with these. Acid, Chaos, Aether Fire. It's cold. It's lightning. Hold on, let me try filtering for something. He says while accidentally putting up a filter. Let's try this filter again. Get 3 there, 3 there. Reckless Tempest. This doesn't help us with getting any reds. This doesn't help us with that. Just try elemental damage. Already gotten a good chunk. We do at least have fire as like a secondary. Lightning. The problem is we have like a suboptimal pairing. Like our Sentinelist class is very good, but I guess we're gonna pick like we want to be optimal. We only have 55 points, so we don't want to waste. We'd rather get a constellation bonus or something. Lightning Aether, offensive ability, lightning retowel. Lightning damage, lightning resistance. We don't get a whole bunch for completing this constellation either. Well, it puts us in the right direction. It puts us in the right direction, but it doesn't do much else on its own. Unfortunately, most of our elemental stuff, like we're gonna have to pick something that just kind of helps us defensively, and maybe try going for that. Got health, energy. This might be a good one. might also be a good one. Vitality resistance. Oh yeah, maybe we can look for bleed resistance in here. I know, we're spending time doing unfun things. Yep, there's the bleeding resistance there. Completing this gives us something. Okay, I think I know what to do. So now is the time where we kind of have to turn our minds to defense. And attempt to complete the constellation otherwise. Vitality res. Let's get the extra health and energy. Alright, 25 bleeding resistance. Hey, that is marginally better. Got 15 minutes to go before we take a break. So let's try to make the most of our 15 minutes, shall we? I guess you can only focus on so much offense at a time, huh? We haven't forgotten about the crypt that's over here, but I don't know if that crypt is necessarily the... Oh, I guess it would be, because I imagine the Necropolis crypt entrance would lead us to the internal crypt, which we're trying to secure for Ulgrim and company. There's no way that's not what we're trying to do. So we got anything to propel us towards other quests and not anything else. That would be ideal. We only want to complete the main quest when we're ready. Here is the internal rift gate, I imagine. Archon Bartholom. Our flame shall purge the unclean. Hello, Ulgrim.
There I thought I'd have to save the world all by myself.
That's the plan.
The Chthon is too numerous for us to take them head on. But we can sabotage their efforts with a few precise attacks, while our Black Legion friends keep them distracted elsewhere.
What did you have in mind?
It appears that the ritual is being powered by blood harvested at the cult's camps, delivered here in despicable blood wagons. To complicate matters, the constant flow of blood is maintaining a chthonic seal over the entrance to the Tomb of the Watchers. I may be able to breach it with some effort, but there is no way you would be able to follow me through. You will have to disrupt the blood deliveries first. The tomb itself is split into 3 levels, with the bottom floor sealed off behind ancient wards. But if the cult is delivering blood in those quantities, then they must have already broken through them. I'm going to enter the tomb and see if I can disrupt the ritual from inside. In the meantime, you should deal with the blood wagons. When you're finished, join me on the bottom level, just beyond the seal of the Logorian. With
Logorian,
luck,
okay.
we will stop the cult of Chthon before the Logorian even moves a tentacled limb.
Okay. I'm not sure we want to be here yet then. Because we're moving in the right direction and we want to be moving in like a wrong direction. Interesting. Yeah, so we want to like go back over here somewhere and enter that crypt. And hopefully that crypt has something for us. We've got the inner gate all situated, so we don't have to worry about having to repeat this long, tedious maze of the Necropolis. You know what? It's fitting. Necropolis is mostly a city of the dead. Necro meaning dead, dead or death. And polis is Greek, I believe Greek for city. So it's fitting. Cities are often labyrinthine in and of themselves, not in a traditional way, but, you know, city blocks can be very, very, very hard to figure out sometimes. That's right, get stunned. Look at all these ghouls. You guys should offer a nice resistance. Nice challenge. It won't make it much you guys won't make it much further off the chopping block instead of resistance. I thought that was like a blockage at first. I guess not. More tombs and crypts. God, this game is so full of places for the dead. What can I say? I guess if you want to talk about something horrific, it usually starts and ends with the dead, doesn't it? I don't know. Anyone else not a fan of the places of the dead? I'm like, whatever. I don't mind being in a crypt, or... I say crypt, I've never been into a crypt. I don't mind being in, like, mausoleums or cemeteries. That sort of thing has never really bothered me before. I don't expect it to start bothering me now. But I've never been in, like, a full-blown crypt before. That's different. That's like an internal cemetery, basically. I'm probably grossly misusing my words, but my point is just... I've never been into an internal area where something has been buried. So that I feel might bother me. I'm sure those kinds of places aren't bad on tours normally. Because yes, you can tour crypts. You can tour, like, certain cemetery holdings. I can't imagine you being unable to, you know, unless the requests from family are, hey, no one's allowed to be at the premises except us. Totally reasonable request.
I can't do that yet.
But is anyone legitimately bothered by, like, places for the dead and think they kind of just shouldn't exist? I know of a few people. I've known of a few people when I played online, like mostly online stuff, that were not a fan of, like, cemeteries and think people should just be cremated. No choice, no regard for tradition, nothing. Just burn the bodies. And make sure you extract the organs first. You know, don't waste anything. Use the dead instead of just preserve the dead. I know of a few people who've said stuff like that. And I'm torn, personally. On one hand, I want to respect the sanctimony of the dead. You know, people have a right to, you know, be buried in the way they desire. But when times are scarce, we end up having to break that sort of promise anyway, because we need to survive. You know, it's, what do you do? So maybe interring the dead is just not something we should do to start with. Maybe we should just burn the dead. And make sure we repossess the belongings and make sure they're put to better use. It's like, we would call that being efficient / minimizing waste. If you minimize waste, then you can't afford to care about the dead. Ever. At all. Because you're too busy caring about the living. Because the living are what matter. I don't know. I want to respect the sanctimony of the dead, but I also get the other point of view as well. Where, you know, the dead... it's not like the dead have a preference. It's not like the dead can voice their preferences anymore. And if you could convince them in life, then you should be able to rationally convince them in death, right? But you can't talk to spirits, you can't commune with the dead. There are no ways to commune with death. And if there are, then you almost assuredly shouldn't use them. What are they called? Ouija boards? Or like spirit boards, where you kind of can communicate with the dead by watching where the letters on that board are going. I think is what a Ouija board does. Allowing people to communicate with the dead, I don't know. We're approaching like magical superstition instead of something based in like rational science and know-how. But that's the truth. And honestly, I think it's kind of elitist to assume that only knowledge obtained through science is a valid form of knowledge, and everything else must pass a ridiculously high threshold of improvability. You can't prove it because it's not observable by human hands. It's really strange. I know I'm a STEM major and I should be limiting myself to only observable knowledge, but I think that viewpoint in and of itself is closed. Creates a paradox. You must be closed to certain forms of knowledge in order to be open to others. Because you cannot possibly be open to everything because everything is contradictory. Absolutely everything is contradictory in the right set of contexts, the right set of circumstances. I don't know. So I guess I can ask, what are everyone's views on death? And you know, the nice thing about YouTube is, I don't need people to be active. You guys can answer this in the comments if you want. I hope I don't have to say it, but maybe sometimes I probably should. Is that all my questions? This is YouTube. You guys can watch the VOD anytime. Feel free to answer any questions you so desire, or don't. Your choice. Not going to make you do anything. How do you feel about death? Is it something to be observed, to be respected, is it something sacred, or is it something that the living should take advantage of? The wishes of the dead are irrelevant, and even if they are relevant, there will always be situations where you will find them to be irrelevant, and you should totally overrule the dead. Their voice is irrelevant, for the decisions you make will not affect them in death like it will affect you in life. Or is there some degree of gray? I'm just curious. You don't have to answer that. Like death and sanctimony are very, they have the potential to be very incensing, dangerous subjects to talk about, because people get upset when traditions are critiqued and scrutinized. Everyone has a breaking point on this. Everyone. You just got to find the right one. I'm torn. As a man of faith, I know what my answer should be, but my answer is not. And doesn't reflect well in my interactions with my brethren, where they typically hold a person's death in more high regard than I do. But my regard for a person's death is also not zero either. Especially when it comes to their belongings or their wishes. Like, as long as we don't need to, take those resources back, then we totally should bury things with the dead, if that is the request. It's when you're running out of space, or logistically you just can't. You just can't entertain it. Then, yeah, maybe make sure people aren't burying things with the dead that could be used. We could go on and on about this subject, because it's something I've thought about for a long time. My answer is no clearer than what I started thinking about this when I was, I don't know, say 15? Yeah, I'm a serious thinker. I'm not your traditional teenager. I don't think about how to have a good time. I think about the serious questions. I was not a laissez-faire person back then, nor am I a laissez-faire person now. I was very morbid as a child, and something I've thought about. I say child, as a teenager, I was a very morbid person. And I often thought about, or I often had stronger feelings regarding, like, the sanctity of death than I do now. Where I sort of see the... I know I keep bringing up the fact that I'm a STEM major, and I'm not saying that STEM people are irreligious. It totally depends on which science and like the people among that science. But I find that biologists in particular and psychologists are the two classes of scientists that are more likely to respect the wishes of the dead, think there's an afterlife, think there's something beyond this world or this life in some way. It's just that's been my pattern that I found when dealing with, you know, my peers, is that those who aren't just trying to make money, who actually want to invest in that science for a living, do tend to hold life and the sanctimony of death in a much higher regard. I don't know why that is. I don't know why my pattern is true. I'm sure someone is probably going to say, "Ugh, you're making blanket assumptions again," and I probably am. But they're at least anecdotally true, and I'd like to understand why that is. Is it something as simple as when you learn respect for life, you learn respect for the dead? Or is it something else? I'm curious. And it's something that you can't Google search to get the answer, because it's philosophical. You could research conversations, but the conversations won't lead you to a right answer, nor is there a right answer. You're kind of just looking at other people's perspectives, and that's a daunting task on the internet. So if someone wants to comment more about, why biologists and medical practitioners tend to carry a greater sense of respect for the dead, please enlighten me. I would love to know more. I want us to be able to talk together as a community, and the best way to do that is to ask these questions. To ask these questions and not expect an immediate answer, but I really want people to take the time to ruminate. And you wouldn't think that Grim Dawn would elicit these kinds of questions from people, but it's kind of this grim, Lovecraftian horror type game, and it can make you think about some serious stuff. Very serious stuff. I didn't think I'd be talking about death that much, but here I am. Or spirits. That's another place where I differ from my compatriots, my other STEM majors. I think that spirits do exist and are real. They're just not interactable in our world. Because yes, you can explain paranormal phenomena by, magnetism and overlooked details in the real world, but what if that's not all there is to it? Or what if the manifestation of spirits is the explanation we observe, and that's the way it's designed? We're gonna take a break, another break. We can take 5 minutes and stretch, and when we return, we're gonna get out of this bloody crypt, this sepulcher, if you will, and proceed back toward trying to find the black heart of the void and braving the void so that we could help Father Kaiman and his chosen. And with that, I will see you after our break. I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Took about an extra 5 minutes. I'll try to hurry it up now. Ready to get out of this damn sepulcher. Sorry, excuse my French again. And I thought I was wearing my headphones. Funny, I am not. What can I say? Sometimes you rate the crypts of the dead. Oh, man. I can't remember the last time I was actually punished for entering a crypt. Maybe Dragon Age was like that last game where I sincerely thought, oh, hello. Yeah, that was probably the last time where I sincerely, actually got punished for raiding the crypt of the elves, who of course are very sensitive about their dead. I can't say I blame them. I can't say I blame them at all. So we got the interior of the necropolis. Not sure what we expect to find here. I mean, quite honest. Hopefully, the amount of ethereal presence really start to diminish as you get further into the necropolis. We're really at... It almost feels like we're in Act 4 or Act 5 of Diablo 3. And things are really picking up toward the end. You wouldn't think so. Hello. I would like a wagon for my troubles, please. That's what? The Western Blood Wagon? I get the feeling we're going to end up completing the main quest first. More than anything else. Because if we look at the map, like where we're being asked to go, like this is the Bastion of Chaos, and the Tomb of the Watchers, like our rifts are somewhere between here and here. So I kind of feel like we actually have to do the main quest in order to do the side quests, which is fine. No, that's good design, to have them intertwined this way. It's just, you know how RPG syndrome is. You always want to do your side quests first, because you don't know if the reward will make the main quest better or not. But sometimes you just can't do that. Ah, we're already 2 tabs in, or yeah, about 2 tabs in. Good. And I've got that 3rd tab. We have no sign of any other notes regarding this necropolis either. Ah, beautiful. I love when a good plan comes together and you can just take these little totem shrines and, get rid of them. Just kill them. Kill all the stuff that the totem summons. Is everyone ready for the well, we probably aren't getting to the conclusion today, but we're going to do our darndest to get it. I might be able to squeeze a few extra minutes out of today's stream to do just that. But only like a few minutes and not any more than that, because I'm leaving at 4:45 Eastern Standard Time for the pizza party I talked about. So I don't want to be late or cause the people who are picking me up to be late to the pizza party. That would be bad. The blood flows, does it? Kabbalist Zackle. The blood I am hauling is pulled like water from an upturned cup. It presses and climbs up the side of the glass, trying to return to its source. If the lids were not on so tight, would they burst off? Would the blood fall sidelong through the air to he who calls it back to him? I confess the urge to release one of the lids is strong, but my conviction is stronger. This is a test, and I will pass through fire and into the realm of the gods and legend. Soon, the centuries of long sleep will be over, and when the Loghorian wakes, the unbelievers will suffer for their lack of faith. Will they? I feel like you will also suffer. Did I mess up display somewhere? Might have. We definitely should be having a map right now. Hold on, I gotta look at the controls again. Keep binding. Humor default. Sorry, I've managed to toggle off the mini-map sometimes. Or at some point. Rotate. No, that's not it either. What happened? Drop, switch, interact, show items, toggle hide all items. I guess we are now without a mini-map. Okay. I'll be needing to press M a whole bunch. I don't know how I toggled that. But I guess it did. I probably, like, used Alt or Control or something to, get that to be that way. I'm trying so desperately to find which key this actually is. I'm pressing all kinds of keys to try to figure this out. And I just don't think I can. I think I pressed just something and I can't get it back. Yep, everything. I've pressed everything and there's no mini-map. Oh well. How fitting that I would have an issue come up right as the end truly begins. You know, we're trying to really put a stop to these blood wagons and to the Loghorian. I pronounce it as Loghorian. I bet people are laughing because I'm like, oh my god, this dude should have heard the pronunciation. But everyone had a different way of saying it. The Loghorian. Like, and if I'm not careful, I'm gonna say Loghorian instead of Loghorian. You know, it's kind of a hard word to say. I'll have to replay that, like, Ulgrim line several times to make sure I've got... Just gonna make sure north is north. It's absolutely mind-blowing that I somehow managed to turn off the mini-map. And I don't understand why or how. I really hope I'm not just hallucinating and it turns off when you get to the necropolis interior. But that very much could be the case. That very much could be the case. Anyone else ever do something like that? Where they turn off... the crypt is sealed by cultist sigil and powered by the blood wagons. Yep. We gotta find that and get rid of it. But we at least know where it is. Also, we would have had to explore everything anyway. To get to this, to get to the crypt. Which will let us do everything else. Yeah, I think next episode. Here I am hyping it up and not thinking there's that much. But remember, Grim Dawn is like a dense game. There's a lot to it, and I can't wait to see what the DLC has to offer. It'll be like looking at the Diablo DLC too in some respects, because you know, with the Diablo DLCs, it kind of felt like you were going back to handling insignificant problems again. But you already knew what you already knew there was a much bigger context to the stuff in Diablo 3 when the DLC or like the bonus came out. Whereas I have no idea with Grim Dawn. I know that the Ashes of Malmeth is supposed to be a follow-up. Yeah, I know one of the DLCs is a follow-up to what happens in the base game, but I know the other one is kind of it's tangentially connected, but it isn't quite the same as being a direct follow-up. That one feels a little more disconnected. At least that's what I've read about the Forgotten Gods. It explains more about the background and the types of forces operating in the background than Ashes of Malmeth, where it is intended to be a follow-up to the events that conclude after you deal with the Loghorian. Man, Ulgrim has completely messed up how I'm supposed to say this word. Thanks, Ulgrim. Ulgrim out of 10. Never to be precise again. When you feel like Ulgrim is always just one step ahead of you. Thanks, Ulgrim. What the hell? Just death. Death, murder, kill, die. And I'm back at the Fort Ikon. You gotta be, like, jerking my chain. You gotta be jerking my chain on that one. You probably aren't, game, but that's not the point. Unfortunately, I don't know which orientation is north, so there's nothing I could do. It looks funny, it looks funny. You'll have to kill me first. Oh wait, they were already trying to do that. That's not as good of a retort as I think it is. Not this time. Not this time, Harak. They're gonna have to do a little bit better than that. Good. Now I can go and reclaim our XP. Level 80. To think, it took us double the time, or double the amount of levels required to beat this in base. In base Grim Dawn, I believe it capped out at 40. And because it it capped out at 40, you couldn't get any stronger. Even with the cap being raised much higher in the Ashes of Malmeth and the Forgotten Gods, I still can't imagine you would get so over leveled that you would be able to essentially complete the game from start to finish and end up at the base point of the initial game at higher than like 50. I just can't imagine any scenario where you're as over leveled as we are. Okay, I see pages 1 and 3. Where's page 2? And why is it not here? And I know it's not among my stuff. So we're missing page 2. Where is this? Necropolis. History, Necropolis. Oh, it's just straight up it's got its own history. My father, Hemel Lestari, is dead. After nearly 20 years of his finest work, the necropolis is complete. It is of great misfortune that he did not live to see his final work completed, having suddenly passed away mere days ago. It haunts me how strong and healthy he was to die suddenly as he did. I am deeply saddened, and yet filled with pride and happiness that I was handed the honor of finishing his grand designs. The Imperium has agreed to have him entombed here, a great honor to our family name, to be at rest with so many valiant defenders of our great nation. As for myself, I am designing my father's mausoleum, and then I must leave for my next commission. I have been tasked with the construction of a massive tunnel that will serve as passage between the conquered Northlands and the Arcovian South. Perhaps not as noble a project as the great necropolis, but it will be mine, and I have many years to fill my father's shoes. I wanted to stay and oversee the construction of my father's mausoleum, but the orders were clear that I get started on this passage immediately. I don't understand the rush or insistence. I almost feel like they're forcing me to leave. Assistant Architect Modin Lestari. You know, I'm sad, kind of, to see that. Hello. 40 scrap and 10,000 iron bits. What? Also, we could somewhere along the way, we ended up being able to go back and, we're going to plop down a new rift somewhere over here. Somewhere along the way, we ended up killing all the wagons. Which, my goodness, what an oversight. 40, we have the money. We've got the money. What we don't have is, the scrap, which we could totally get. What, we need 40? Oh, we don't need that much. We need 14. Let's deposit all of our materials. Clean up any flasks. Wow. Clean up any elixirs and tonics. And where is the other one? We had the tonic. We have to have elixirs. Gotta be somewhere. Can't be nowhere. Or, I guess not. I guess not. Okay. I'll just take one of these complete stacks back then. I'm really quite surprised. I thought for sure I would have another one in here. Meh. Doesn't really hurt me. Not in this... what now?
Your dedication to this community is without compare. Thanks to you, we may just survive the end of the world. I'm sorry we ever doubted you.
I'm just happy you didn't finish the job at the gallows. You saved the settlement. Thank you. It's nice to be reminded that, you know, we could have killed you, but we didn't. Boy, what a gaslight that is.
The whole damn place fooled, but I won't fall to your slith tongue taken.
What's your problem?
My problem is that you're standing right there instead of burning up in the pile of taken corpses. Now, I don't know what game you're playing here, but you're bound to slip up. You can be sure I'll be watching. Off with you.
Wow! I thought I would have won over Jarvis by now, but holy crap.
It's been too long since I've laid my eyes on fresh corn. I used to hate stuff. Now it's like a blessing.
Turns out your preferences disappear when you're starving. You learned not to hate the things that you used to take for granted, huh? Okay, let's get back to it. This necropolis ain't gonna handle itself. Ah, yes. Here is this rift we were talking about. Chthonic Rift. The Bastion of Chaos. But is this the wastes we were talking about? Probably not, if I had to think about it. So welcome to the Bastion of Chaos, where all these enemies are just death incarnate. More than the Aetherials themselves, if I'm being honest. The Chthonians are like staring into the face of malice and expecting it not to kill you outright. Or like taking a trip through the Apocrypha that Hermaeus Mora sets before you. And not expecting the Keepers to defend the books, defend the forbidden tapestries and designs of Hermaeus Mora with their very lives. Their very beings, I guess I should say, because they're certainly not alive, not in a traditional sense. Ugh. I have to be out of here sooner rather than later, but there's probably no telling how long we'll be here. Ugh, and no mini-map either. That's the worst part, is no mini-map. I just don't understand how I shut it off. But I guess if you accidentally, you know, keyboard mash buttons, then you end up turning it off when you don't mean to. I just wish there were I just wish that were the case. Where's the map window? It's map window, options menu, faction window, character window, skills window, codex. Interesting. Oh, did I click somewhere? Okay. That'll do it. I'm much happier now. I must have accidentally clicked something. And you know, the sad part is we were actually shown this by a wonderful and lovely viewer that I'm quite sure is gone now. Who was pretty much telling me the ins and outs about this game. If you're out there listening, thank you. Your guidance possibly saved this playthrough and prevented it from being more of a slog than it actually was. Hello, Charndaroth? Charndaroth? Oh, never mind. Hello, Raka Valgoth. Ugh. Is that a... What is this? Presume it's over here. Shrouded Mask. Interesting. Ah, but we lose... Well, we don't exactly lose any damage. We only lose, like, bonuses to Aether. What is this? Also, I just realized I don't have any way to tell when, you know, people are subbing or whatever, or following. Yes, if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe. Makes a difference. Promise, like the content. Share it with your friends. That helps even more than a follow or a... It helps more than a sub does. Gotta beat that algorithm somehow. I'm not very good at it. Interesting. So we got health. Okay, no, we do get better energy. We get better elemental resistance. We get less cooldown reduction, but that could be changed. Oh, but I guess we also get stunned for longer and we lose a little defensive ability. I don't know. I want to hold on to this because this is technically better than what I'm wearing. It is technically better than what I'm wearing. I just don't know if it's better. Also, why are we getting 2 devotion points per shrine? I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth, I guess. Let's see, Aether. Okay, how much over? We're 23% over maximum. Do we have any, like, chaos resist somewhere? I don't think so. No, we do. We have 22%. This is almost assuredly where it's coming from. It's right here. Right here from this Invoker Shard. Huh. Oh, I guess the belt too. Okay. So I do want to point out, this is the Bastion of Chaos. This is not the Forsaken Wastes. That's a different place completely. Not today. Zalath... What's this? Zalathuthax. The last NPCs, or last things that I dealt with that had names this hard, other than this game, and they weren't, and they didn't belong to Diablo, were the Sahuagin. In my own tabletop campaign, they have names that often end in X, and often have apostrophes in weird places. Welcome to what is essentially, you know, sentient sharks that have legs. You know, they have strange sounding names.
That's locked.
Oh, really? This is another challenge dungeon? Oh, I guess we're definitely having at least one other episode. Holy Lord. I didn't think that there would be another challenge dungeon. I thought that... Oh, aren't there like, what, 5 or 6? Yeah, you know what, that makes some more sense. Okay. I guess I just passed the spy. Didn't think about it that much. Not today, Chthonian scum. Not today. Did that guy flee or did he die? I think he died. Good. What the hell was that? I don't like random, like, roars and screams. Oh, I am so dead. I am so dead. Alright, let's level up. We're almost there at the end. Almost. Not quite, but we're close. Think we have to go back. Yeah, okay. I know what happened. That's actually not too much of a setback. And really, you know, we don't have to go that far. I think we have to go, what, around here and move through? That's actually not too bad of a trip for me to have to repeat. Really, the hard part is going to be whatever is lurking in the Chthonian Rift. That's what has to be repeated. We're putting a... Oh, I can't put that here. Okay. I can't make a rift here. Interesting. Good to know that I can't make rifts in here. I think I remember the Ashen Waste, and that's why I was kind of able to make a rift then. I guess broken clocks can be right twice a day and wrong the rest of the time. I guess I just didn't take that as seriously as I should have. Alright. Well, I guess we gotta keep our wits about us. Strange place with no access to rifts of any kind. What does that sound like? Oh, a challenge dungeon. Luckily, this is just like... This is not like the actual challenge dungeon, so we should actually be fine. So we've seen enough of a variety of environments to be thoroughly impressed by this game. I'm thoroughly impressed. I too love dealing with Chthonian horrors. Yeah, I find the art style of the game impressive. I really do want to thank Crate Entertainment for making the game so far. I'm glad that they were able to do as much work as they could. I'm glad they were able to make something of a business for themselves out of it. Because we possibly get, you know, a sequel. We get to know more about the world of Cairn as a result. And you know, what's one more gaming mascot to add to the collection? You guys must have seen it by now. On Steam, you can go back and look through previous adverts. And some of the adverts are... they're selling like plushies of like something specific. I think it was the Eye of Dreeg. Or, you know, something similar? Or like an anthropomorphized version of the Eye of Dreeg. It's something crazy. It's something I didn't pay too much attention to, if I'm being quite honest with you. Hello, what is this chthonic rift? Do I want to know what's in here? Ugh. I would freak the hell out if I were here. I would actually probably be driven mad if I were here, given all the lore about the Chthonians, but... Because no human mind can withstand this. Yeah, I would be driven more, like, actually insane. We're gonna get out of there before I die due to pestilence. Thank you very much. See, even at level 80. Exalted Stash. Interesting. We must have reached the center of the Bastion of Chaos. You know, disregarding the challenge dungeon. What the heck? Why am I having issues zapping you? Stop it. Die for me. Where is SMT Alice when I need her? I need her special Mudo adjacent skill. I believe it's called Die for me. No, SMT 5 I think brings that back. in like a very exciting way. SMT might also be a series that is a bit more YouTube exclusive. I don't think it goes over great on Twitch. Now, SMT 5 maybe goes over great on Twitch, but... But that might only be because of the flashy mechanics and stuff. But the fact that S&T just takes a long time to complete at 100% is just... Oof, it is brutal. Gotta play the game like 3-4 times. I believe you have to play SMT 4 exactly 4 times over to get all the endings. Because once you get the ending, you know, you can't, like, that's just it. And one of them is like a game over type of ending, I think. Or, no, I think it's a premature ending. With the white or something like that. I'm really muddling up my S&T 4. And I'm a huge S&T fan. Yes, the self-purported Christian is a fan of S&T. What a surprise. To absolutely no one. Because I too could separate artists from their art. Or in this case, Atlas from whatever they make. Also, S&T is not a very good reflection of the opinions of the company. Maybe the Japanese mother company? But that's probably not even it at this point. SMT and Persona are both flagship enterprises of Atlas, and they want to do their best to get it right. And all that fun stuff. Alright, where... We need to get back to the rift. And then I might have to call it. Because it is 350. And I don't just want to amble about for its own sake. Where did this rift run off to? I know it was around here. Maybe it's back over here somewhere? Ah, yes, going in random portals. That's good for your health. Okay, we're here at the Necropolis Interior. So this is where we're going to stop. Next time, I guess we're going to take a little bit of a detour. I know, this series is full of detours. What a surprise. And we're going to do the last challenge dungeon. The Bastion of Chaos. Who knows what we're going to find here? Hopefully great, interesting things. And yes, before anyone asks, when we get ready to do that challenge dungeon, I will crank the difficulty back down. Or basically turn Grimmest off. So that we can experience almost the way it was intended. Hopefully we won't be too over-leveled for it. If it turns out to be too easy, we will crank the difficulty back up. But we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end of this playthrough. At least in terms of the base game. We still have 2 DLCs. I shouldn't have said it that way. We're nearing the end of the base game. That's what I wanted to say. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you got your money's worth out of this particular episode. I tried to make sure I mixed it up and talked about real world stuff too. I don't know if that's how people like their streams, but this is how I've chosen to do it today. I don't know if that's going to be a recurring trend, as YouTube is typically supposed to be where stream and LP and like a walkthrough are all supposed to kind of meet. So that's what I want YouTube to be. So I don't know. But I look forward to seeing the results of this together with you. If you guys like the content, feel free to sub and turn on that notification bell. Make sure if you only want to see this, then make it personalized. Otherwise, make sure it's all the way on. That way you don't miss it. If you want a way to contact me, best way to do that is by following the Patreon link. goes right to the goes right. So that's not gonna work, is it? Because I don't have it set up properly. At least when I'm not actually streaming. I actually recommend you, DM me. We'll figure out something. But if you want to just talk at me, like me alone, you don't care about anything else, then feel free to show up to my Twitter page and leave me a DM or respond to those. You can also DM me on, I don't know if you can DM someone on YouTube, but I know you can leave comments. Talk to me. I'll talk back. Promise. I promise I'm not a weird person when I'm offline. Guaranteed. I mean, I'm only weird in that I'm not, in that I'm neurodivergent, but you know what I mean. Next time on Grim Dawn, you already know what we're doing. Challenge dungeon. Gotta get that out of the way. Then after, the Logorian. Logorian. We'll figure out that pronunciation yet, even if it kills me. If you guys want to see other content, then I highly recommend you go over to twitch.tv/coinstamp. I stream every Wednesday and Sunday. Every Wednesday we're playing Mass Effect. Every Sunday we're playing Elden Ring. So tomorrow will be some Elden Ring content. You guys can look forward to that. Or if not, I guess I'll see you next Friday with the Challenge Dungeon. Alright. Thank you. I appreciate your company. My name is Coin, or Swirling Vortex, or Steven. You could call me any of those things. This has been another episode of Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries. And I will see... You guys are welcome in my hallowed halls anytime. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, and bye-bye.